Is it super glue?
Yeah. Hot glue gun?
Hot glue. Glue gun.
hot glue gun.
gun.
Yeah.
Is that what
Oh, yeah. Not super glue.
Yeah. It's
Those
different.
are two different things. They're
Also,
both amazing.
I was just going to say that. But super glue is also awesome.
When you know you're in your 40s, you're a mom in your 40s, you think super glue and hot glue guns are the best thing.
They're the best thing.
Leaders from Asheville and Buncombe County.
From the newsroom to the nursery.
We're juggling a demanding career on live TV with the demands of motherhood.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Karen.
They are AnchorMoms.
Hello and welcome. I feel like I said hello. You were mid-sip of your coffee there.
Yep.
I was like,
Hello, good morning. Just enjoying my coffee over here. How are you, Katie?
I'm great, Karen. Oh, another sip.
Yeah.
Another one?
I mean, it's early. I need my coffee.
Okay. So I did something this past weekend that has never been done in the Katie Killen household.
Oh my, what?
I crafted. I didn't want
That's
to.
not true. You've crafted.
Oh no, I had to make a shirt. River's in this musical and I had to make.
Like sew?
I mean, no, you're supposed to sew, but I can't sew. Like with a sewing machine? No. I can barely sew a button. So I just used super glue.
Oh, okay. That works.
So it's River's in The Little Mermaid.
Oh,
Mhm.
yes.
And so, one of
Wait, are they performing at Jones?
no.
Oh.
they
There's
doing
another Little Mermaid
Oh.
production going on at another school that my
Rival?
children are going to.
A rival
Mhm.
Little Mermaid production?
Mm-hmm.
What are the odds?
That is really funny. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, both of my two of my 4 children are going to a Little Mermaid production.
Because they're going to watch, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be audience
Mhm.
members.
That's correct.
Okay.
Mhm. They're
Well, they
not
can-
in the Little Mermaid.
They can come to another Little Mermaid.
Who knew
I mean-
there were so many Little Mermaid performances going on?
I mean, why wouldn't they go to River's Little Mermaid performance?
I don't know. It's not on the field trip list. So what is she? Ariel?
No, she's in first grade. She's not Ariel. She's a fish. And then she's in remember the poor unfortunate souls?
Oh, I love that song.
She's in that scene too. I don't know. They've been practicing this thing since, I don't know, September. So this is one of her favorite activities. She did it last year. They did Mary Poppins.
I remember that.
But the costumes kill me. So you have to, it's like the parents' responsibility to
I'm
come up with
surprised they don't just give them out.
I don't know. But
Okay.
every year it's a huge stressor for me because
Mhm.
I'm like, can we
What kind of a fish? Like Nemo?
do you know that book, The Rainbow Fish?
Yes.
Okay.
That fish? That's very shiny.
Trust me.
Ooh.
Trust me. So
Wow.
it's supposed to look like that. And so it required me ordering felt, like measuring and ordering felt.
Mm.
Okay. Cutting the felt, like coming up with like a stencil, cutting the felt into these scales,
Sounds intense.
arranging them onto a shirt, and then super gluing them. It took me kind of all afternoon on Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to see a picture of this.
Oh,
once
I
it's
have
done.
a picture. I'll show it to you. We'll post it to
Yeah.
AnchorMoms. But so I tried to buy this. I searched everywhere. I looked on
Mhm.
Etsy. Like the nearest place I could get it was from Etsy, but it was shipping from Australia and it wouldn't be
Mhm.
here in time.
Next time you have a crafting need like this, I have a friend who sews. Like
I
that's her.
thought you were going to be like, I'm going to get Ella right into it.
Oh, no. Could probably do that too. No, I have thankfully a friend who's like very
What, like
artsy,
a sewing
crafty stuff.
machine?
Yeah, she went to fashion school and she has a sewing machine. She's like sewing, has her own Etsy shop. Like anything I need like this, if I'm like, hey, I got a last minute costume need, she's like, I gotcha.
I would have paid upwards of $100 for this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was very anxious about it just because it's a lot of pressure. Like you want it to look good. It's for your kid. And I was like, I wanted to say to the drama teacher, like, yo, I need like an Amazon link. Like just an
Yeah, yeah.
Amazon link.
Mhm.
I cannot. It
Mhm.
was so like all week I was like, I had a really bad cold last week and I just kept looking at the felt and like looking at my glue gun. And Brian was like, when are you going to get to? I was like, I'm getting there. I'm going to do
Okay,
it.
I got to mentally prepare. Yeah.
I got to mentally prepare. And even as I was doing it, I was like, what if this looks awful? So yesterday, River had you. So then you have to like bring in your costume, and there's like a costume check where they like approve you've done it
Oh
all
my
right.
gosh. Yeah. Okay.
I was very anxious about it.
Mhm.
And you know, this is the funny thing about kids. Like, River doesn't know that I'm a failure as a parent and that I cannot, like, this is not my wheelhouse at all. So, like, she just assumes it's like,
Fine.
it's great. It's perfect. Like, what's wrong with it? You know? Meanwhile, I'm like, because it's glue gunned on and it's this heavy felt, I'm like, be careful. Like, put this on very gently. You know how kids are. She's like whipping it around. I'm like, gently, gently. And so we passed the muster at school yesterday. So this is like, it's a go. But I was like, what if they tell me, Brian was like, what if they say,
redo,
go back to like the drawing board? I was like, I can't, I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well done. You did it.
I wanted you to be more impressed with that.
I
like,
just said well done.
Do you know me at all?
Great job,
Like,
Katie.
fact,
You
like,
are amazing.
The fact that I crafted a shirt with my own like blood, sweat, and tears.
You are the best mom I've ever met in my
That's exactly
whole life.
what I wanted to say. I won't lie to you. I was like at the gym earlier this morning and I was like, I am killing life right now.
It doesn't matter what you do in your job, how great of a wife you are. If you can craft a costume for your kid, man, that's really, you've hit the top.
I got this mom thing nailed. I got it.
Wow. Okay.
I felt so good about it.
Good. That's awesome.
You don't seem as like enthusiastic.
I wouldn't have done it.
Well, what would you have done?
I would have called this friend. I would have been like asking everybody like, hey, who knows somebody who could make a costume for me? I can do it. You know, it's funny. My mom can sew. Actually, both my mom and my mother-in-law are good sewers. And so I just, ship that stuff out to them. But last time she visited, she brought her sewing machine and was like, do you want to keep my sewing machine?
Give it to Ella Ray. I feel like this is like an Ella Ray thing.
Yeah, I was like, you can leave it for Ella Ray. But I don't, I'm like, I'm not going to teach her how to sew. Like she can't at 9 just like figure out how to sew with a sewing machine.
I mean, if anyone could, I'll be honest with you, it would be Ella Ray.
Anyway, so it's sitting in one of our closets right now. And I'm like, that's cool. You can leave it. And this can be like her sewing machine. But like, you've got to teach her because I don't have like the knowledge or time or energy to like
maybe
teach
I can
my
come
children.
over too. I do feel like it's like.
My mom can hold sewing lessons in our basement when she's in town.
I will pay her. Like I do think it's like so sad and unfortunate. My mother-in-law got River when Helene happened and she wasn't in school and she had just broken her arm, she got River these little animals that you sew.
Oh my gosh, Ella Ray has those. Yes, she loves them.
Yes? Did she sew them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
they're so cute.
Good on her. Because I was like, can we super glue these together? But so now every time my mother-in-law comes to town, like they work on, I think they finally are finished. Yeah. But they work on those.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
But if Ella Ray can do that, she could have done, I'm going to farm this out to Ella Ray next time.
Please.
If she can sew those.
Please.
Those were hard.
I take half of all of her earnings as her
like
agent.
You take a commission.
Yeah. I can't make costumes now.
Well, and so yesterday,
I'm so glad my kids aren't involved in theater. I mean, maybe they will be someday.
Maybe they will be. Yesterday when I was at school, and of course all the moms are there helping their kids change into the costumes, I was like sort of taking the temperature, like, was everybody else like cool with this? Or like is there anybody else who was like
upheaval about it?
Yeah.
Did we start protesting?
Is there anybody else who like lost a couple nights of sleep over this costume?
What was the vibe?
Thankfully, there was one mom. Like one mom like tried to send a link to the drama teacher, and the drama teacher was like, no. And I was like, thank God I wasn't the only one.
If you're not a main character, I feel like I can't think of any particular fish in Ariel except flounder. Like, couldn't everybody else have just been a random fish?
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
Like, why does it have to be something specific? Like, can't everybody just be a sea
I don't
creature?
make the rules. I just follow them. Okay? I don't make the rules. I just follow them.
Well, you followed them excellently. You passed the test.
You're just reminding me.
Are you now a Pinterest mom?
I mean, no. Part of the drama club. So River's in this drama club, and they did a little like workshop performance last month, and I had to make oysters, like oyster puppets to put on her hand.
Jeez.
I know.
You need to drop this club.
Also use super glue. Super glue is like my superpower.
It is amazing.
Like I didn't realize the power of super glue until I had a kid, and now I'm like,
Solves everything.
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 That's gonna. Should that be my
Mums. Super glue.
I'm 41 and I finally discovered the power of super glue. Not super glue. No. Is it super glue?
Yeah. Hot glue gun?
Hot glue. Glue gun.
A hot glue
A glue
gun.
gun.
Yeah.
Am I that what
Oh,
I-
yeah. Not
Is that
super
the-
glue.
Yeah. It's
Those
different.
are two different things. They're both
Also,
amazing.
I was just going to say that. But super glue is also awesome.
When you know you're in your 40s, you're a mom in your 40s, you think super glue and hot glue guns are the best thing.
They're the best thing.
Mhm.
All right. Well, let's move on. Another time when you may or may not have found yourself crafting is the pandemic. Did you know?
Yes.
This is like the 5-year anniversary.
I heard
of the
heard
pandemic,
that. Mm-hmm.
which is wild. So this article comes from the Democratic and Chronicle. And this is interesting. It's not very long, but this writer just describes her experience during that time. She's a parent. And it's like you listen to it or you read it and it's just basically like it's like the universal experience, I think, of parents during the pandemic.
Everyone can relate if you were a parent.
Yeah.
during the pandemic.
She says, interruptions were the norm. Each weekday I worked from dawn to dusk with numerous breaks to tend to my boys, prepare meals, or clear up one of the many messes in our home. And while most pauses spanned mere minutes, others took hours and repeatedly diverted my attention. Our TV babysat my sons while I focused on urgent occupational obligations, dance parties, costume parades, pillow forts, and impromptu soccer games were the norm. She says, looking back, she remembers how petrified we were each day, not so much of the disease, but of the unknown and what sort of infiltration could mean to our family and our future. Would we get sick? What would that look like? Who would take care of my boys if I died? How can we protect ourselves? I remember some of these same feelings. My sister, who is in healthcare out in California, there was at one point they were going to, she does not do this sector of healthcare, but they were going to divert her to do testing. This was like very early on when you would like drive through in your car and they would do testing. And I remember being because at the time you just didn't have any concept of if this could be deadly for you, even really how it was transmitted, like what it would mean. It was just such a crazy time. I have PTSD even thinking about it. Just this time of year sort of brings up all those emotions.
One of the quotes was, we're 5 years older now. We've been through this weird chapter and we not only survived, we thrived. And I thought, I think that's a wonderful kind of synopsis of it. But I also, at the time, I was not thriving.
Yeah.
We were not. It was very scary. And I think it was just looking back, now there's of course been, there's the, what is it now that's going around? The H1N1, whatever.
The bird flu.
The bird flu, yeah.
Well, measles, there's a measles outbreak.
Yeah, like there's been other things since then. So it kind of makes me think like, why was that one so scary? But it was the unknown and the level of severity of this disease and how quickly people were catching it and dying and becoming very ill. To shut down the entire country for a long time. It was scary.
Yeah.
I remember I have a very clear memory of, you were kind of sent home. Well, we were all sent home.
I was basically furloughed though at work here.
Yeah. I was sent home and was just answering people's questions about COVID. Like, does this mean I can still do this? What does this mean? And trying to get locally here in our area. But I remember I did have to do a couple of like live shots and, they were wanting Facebook lives a lot on this information and trying to time it where all 3 of my kids were napping at the same time. So I would have like a time to do a Facebook live for 15 minutes and thinking like, I can't do this. And also like put my makeup on and shower. It was just, now it seems crazy, but just trying to get a little bit of work done with 3 little ones at home was nuts. I remember finally after a couple of weeks, I was like, I've got to get out of the house because this is not. And so we would every day go on a hike.
Yeah.
Me with all 3 kids every day. And, like the playgrounds were taped off with caution tape. You're just hiking with masks. We were wearing masks outside because we didn't. I mean, it's just like unbelievable to think about what we went through. It's funny. Ella Ray often will say to her siblings, like, well, at least you guys didn't have kindergarten and COVID. Like she
Virtual
has virtual kindergarten. She has very distinct memories of that. And feels like she got gypped, which, I mean, she did. So many kids did. I will say, though, looking back now, I do think that I'm almost glad my kids were the ages they were versus high school.
Oh, my gosh.
Middle school,
Yes.
college. I think those
Yes.
kids, I just can't. I mean, I guess it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. They did have phones, iPads. They could FaceTime. They could connect with their friends.
Yeah.
Whereas little ones didn't. But, I mean, I just don't know how they did it.
Well, I feel bad for people that was your first year in college. I mean,
Right.
kindergarten is bad enough. It's your first year in college. It's your senior year in high school. It's your senior year in college. You graduated college and you're starting your first job. Like like anybody who had one of those miles, like 2020, 2021 was a milestone.
Where it's a very
year.
social year.
Yeah.
And no one was being social.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say one of the greatest things that came out of COVID for me is I started ordering my groceries.
Oh, yeah.
And
You've
I've
never
never
stopped.
looked back.
Mhm.
I've never stopped doing that.
I mean, same. I do remember, though, and think back often on, remember when, like, you know, they were like, you need to wipe them down?
I wrote that down because it was so, now you look back. I mean, I remember I was thinking about this. This was a little bit further out because remember, you know, it was like the pandemic really stretched into like social distancing stretched into like 2021 as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Henry started kindergarten the following year in a mask.
Yes, that's what I mean. And I think River, same thing. She started preschool in a mask. But I remember that fall, it was like 2021, and you and I were running around the lake by our house, and someone yelled at us like for not wearing masks. And I remember at the time being like, okay, like, are we not past this yet? Like we are
a year and a half in.
It's a year and a half in, and we're like outdoors, and we know that you don't have to wear a mask like that. Like I'm not going to give you COVID outdoors when you're 10 feet away from me. You know, it's just, it's anyway, 5 years. A lot of people. This article mentions the writer here started working from home and has continued to work from home. So.
Yeah, I do think that was one positive. And, you know, it's funny, just the other day, it was kind of one of those crazy weeks. And, you know, we have some sort of kids extracurricular activity, as do you. Well, we literally have one every single day of the week. And there's times when I was thinking about how busy we were. And I thought,
like to go back.
Well, it just was like, you know, if for like a month, we could just have like no activities.
I know.
No social commitments. I mean, certainly do not want to go back to COVID, but it just is interesting to think back on that time and think, you know, there were some I mean, you know, for the first time ever, we didn't travel for Thanksgiving or Christmas that year to see family.
Same.
And I remember how sweet and wonderful those holidays were, just with our little family, no stress, no travel, packing up, all of that, like just those types of things, and just how much time we got to spend together. You know, sometimes it would be nice to get a little bit more of that.
Get
in our lives.
Yeah.
I have a Mums for us.
Okay.
So this is, I can't remember if I've mentioned this on here, but you know, it's getting hopefully warmer out, and we're getting into spring, summer. This is my family's, well, I should say, Gregory and my favorite sunscreen.
Okay.
It is from Trader Joe's. It is the Daily Facial. It's SPF 40, but it is a little orange container. And literally last time we went to Trader Joe's, he was like, maybe get 5 boxes.
Wow.
I mean, it's a smaller container, but it is so good. It is a clear, it's clear. It's just a great consistency. And we put it on our face every single day. If we're going to be out in the sun at all, which we are every day, it's the best. A friend recommended it, and we can't
put it on the kids too, or just you guys?
Yeah, we put it on the kids too. I don't know why. It is something about this sunscreen. It's just the right. I don't know. It's just lovely.
Consistency.
Yeah, and it's, it's clear, so it doesn't give you that white gooky. It's not
Oh.
like that thick, sticky,
Yeah.
nasty sunscreen. The kids will let us put it on them. We put it on ourselves. I put it on my face before I put makeup on if I'm going to work. And it's, I think, I couldn't remember. I looked it up on Amazon. It's $17 because it's Amazon. If you get it in the store in Trader Joe's, it's, I think, either $6.99 or $7.99. Yeah, it's
It's a lot
amazing.
cheaper.
It's amazing. So if you're
Is
in
it
need
Trader
of sunscreen,
Joe's brand?
it's Trader Joe's brand.
Hmm.
Trader Joe's Daily Facial Sunscreen, SPF 40, clear. It's just light. You can even tell you're putting it on.
Light?
It's amazing.
Okay.
A friend recommended it, and we have never looked back. And we buy it by the crate. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
All right. The next article is from the New York Post. The average parent spends this much time bargaining with their kid. What would have been your guess?
Mhm.
I mean, we do a lot of negotiations in our family. Well, I'll just tell you the answer.
Okay.
67 hours a
Yeah.
year in negotiation. But when you break this down, it said it's 5 times a week, which I would say it's
That doesn't
far
even,
greater in my
yeah.
family.
Well, you have 4 kids, so it's like maybe it's probably like 20 times a week.
So this article really focuses on dinner time as the big time that you're having to
Shocker.
negotiate. And it goes through a lot of other data and information about meals and kids not wanting to eat their vegetables and all the things. I will say, I mean, look, dinner time's not pretty at our house, but I would almost say, I mean, we've really just basically given up on, we're kind of at the point where we're like, here's your meal. If you eat it, you eat it. If you don't, you don't. Like, I'm not going to bend over backwards and force you to eat. You don't get dessert. You go straight to bed if you don't eat your meal. Like, those are the rules. So,
Do they really go straight to bed?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Bennett won't even sit in her chair. Like, she just bops around and, like, I don't even know, does gymnastics around the table.
Yeah.
Like, she won't even sit down. She
Yeah.
doesn't touch it. I would, this sounds terrible. I would say that most nights she does not touch her dinner.
And then is she hungry after? Or?
And she'll ask for more food. And we're like, no, that's what? Like, I've slaved away at this healthy meal.
Yeah.
Like, you can eat it or not.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's also not starving.
Right. No, I know. That's how I'm too. No, River is like, so River will eat literally 3 things. And it's like buttered noodles, chicken. And she, and I mean, I'm like struggling to think. And then she likes like, string cheese and applesauce and apples with peanut butter. Like, it's like,
so hard.
she would eat pizza for a minute, but now she's kind of like,
she doesn't like quesadillas.
She doesn't like quesadillas.
Oh, that's a shocker. Ella Ray doesn't like quesadillas either. I'm like, how can you not like a
I know.
quesadilla? What has a
'cause I think
quesadilla
it's
ever
like-
done to you?
It's just like cheese and bread. I know. It's like I don't think she understands what it is, no matter how much time. So anyway, I'm kind of over the battle too. Brian
Yeah.
actually gets annoyed with me, and I'm just kind of like, I just can't.
I can't do the same thing every day.
I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't. She will occasionally want like applesauce or a string cheese. And I like afterwards, and I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever. Those are like
Healthy-ish.
healthy,
Yeah.
fine. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna like argue with you.
Mm-hmm.
Vegetables, like, forget about it.
I do think this article is accurate, and I do bargain and negotiate with my children often. For me, the bigger two, honestly, than dinner are chores
Oh, okay.
and bedtime.
Mm.
And now Sam has recently moved out of his crib
So he can get up.
so he can get up. In the first couple weeks, I felt like I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to be okay. He's staying in his bed. Mm-mm. Homeboy cannot. I mean, last night he was the last one awake of all 4 children. And he's the youngest.
Yeah.
I mean, and he just walks out for the 17th time
Yeah.
with a big smile on his face as
You're
we're
like,
like doing dishes,
You're
and
cute,
we're like,
but you like go to
nope,
bed.
nope, you got to stay in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And then it's like, Sam, if you don't come out of your bed 3 nights in a row, we could give you a big treat. Like, you could pick out donuts or something. And Greg was like, I like where you're going with this, but like, he's too little to know like 3 days in a row.
Right.
And like, you know, he's like, it's going to have to be the next morning.
It needs to be like instant gratification.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then he didn't. He got out of his bed 25 times.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, the first thing he said, do I get donuts?
And you were like,
And I was like,
no.
No. And then he lost it. I was like, but I wanted a donut.
And you were like,
and I guess in his mind, probably like the last time he didn't get out of bed was worthy of the donut. But like the 25 times before.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm in those kind of bargaining, you know,
I'm trying to think. I mean, I would
modes.
say dinner time. I would say, yeah. I mean, River will want to like, she doesn't want to take a shower or a bath. And it's like, you know.
For some reason, that's not an issue in my family. I don't know why.
Bedtime, like she'll push it off, but like there's not necessarily like a tantrum, if you will,
Right,
just
right.
to like, oh, do I have to? But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I think I remember thinking that, I don't know, before I had a kid that I would never be like this bargaining parent. And now it's like, absolutely.
Have I told you the story? This was when we were renovating our basement right after COVID. And there was an electrician in our house, and his wife was pregnant with their first kid. And, you know, I'm home all day with all 3 kids, COVID, like trying to work. It's crazy, right? And I never forget one time he was upstairs doing something and was like overhearing me and the kids and literally comes up to me and goes, so you just bribe your children?
And you were like
he was so appalled that I, you know, obviously there was something and I was like, okay, if you do this, then you'll get this. And he looked at me like I was the worst mom in the world.
Can we get that electrician back now? Because I would love to know.
I mean, I remember just being like, buddy, we are in a pandemic and I'm working from home with 3 small children. What do you think I'm supposed to do here?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Sometimes you got to pull out a little bribe. And I mean, I would love to know what I said to him because I was so flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling like, oh man, this guy thinks I'm like a really bad mom. And I was like, I think I ended up just saying, well, just wait.
What you gotta do.
Just wait. Like you too, my friend, will one day be bribing your child.
Bribery will get you everywhere.
Yeah. Like I'm sure I probably looked down upon it too before I was a parent, but like just you wait.
Just you wait. You wait. Okay. Our third article here comes from Motherly, and this is a mom who changed her baby's name at 18 months. And apparently she's not alone. 9% of moms have experienced regret.
That seems high.
Is it?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not nothing. Regret over the name they chose for their child. And one of the key reasons for this regret is that 10% of moms feel their kid's name just doesn't match their personality, whether because of like changing preferences or unexpected associations. Baby name regret is more common than you might think. So the example here is this TikToker who was posting about this on the socials. And she said, all right, when she was pregnant with her second son, she wanted a name that reflected adventure and nature, something that fit the outdoorsy spirit of her husband and eldest son. And then after scouring Pinterest for outdoorsy boy names, they landed on Aspen.
Which is cute.
Super cute. I actually know a girl named Aspen, by the way, who's like my age, which isn't that strange. Yeah. Anyway, but as Aspen grew, it became clear he had other plans. He gets carsick in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, gags at the thought of a blueberry, and prefers air conditioning and sitting down over any sort of rugged adventure. So basically, as you know, this kid's personality emerged, she felt more and more like the name didn't suit. She thought about it, talked about it with her husband, and they changed it. They changed his name to Luke. The legal process took a year. That's why it wasn't legal until he was 18 months. I'm assuming like once they decided to change it, they started calling him Luke. Before it was legal, right? Because I feel like that would be really confusing if you waited till a kid was 18 months officially to start calling him that. And so now they're happy they did it. So they're saying if you were one of these 9%, you're one of the 9% of people here, don't feel bad about doing it. River wants to change her name anyway. She's already...
What does she want to change it to?
Lily.
Oh.
every week it's like a new name. She told me in
Mm.
church that she was like, "Hey,
I'm changing my name.
can grown-ups change their names?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was
You
like,
should have said, look, if any grown up in your life needs to change their name, it's Karen.
"It's Miss Karen."
Yeah, because she has a name
The best name
synonymous
ever.
with the devil now, apparently. Yeah, I think this is really interesting. You know, I do know several people who will admit, like, if I had to do it over again, I'd name my children something different.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if I would change any of my children. I don't think I would change any of my children's names. It is funny, you know, we named Henry fully intending to call him Hank.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is breaking news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, we were like, well, Henry's kind of common, but we'll call him Hank. And we just thought, like, oh,
Why
he'll
didn't you
be a
just name
Hank.
him Hank?
I
I
don't
never
know.
understand that.
Because Gregory really liked the name Henry. It was kind of like a compromise thing, right? Like,
Okay.
Gregory really wanted Henry, and I was like, well, it's kind of like boring, and you know.
But Hank isn't.
Well, I just thought Hank was a little more different,
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah. But then what happened? Just never got around to it.
Well, I keep trying to bring it up, and like every like couple months, I'm like, Henry, how do you feel about Hank? Should we go by Hank now? And he's always like, no. I'm like, okay.
So Brian, my husband, while we were talking about River wanting to change her name, which is a valid, I mean, I
Yeah.
do, you know, it's valid only because River is not, you know, I have said this before on the pod that it's a little bit of like a polarizing name. It's like one of those things, either you like it or you don't like it,
Mhm.
which I didn't really, I mean, I guess I should have guessed that, but I didn't really realize that until I had River. But anyway, Brian said that when he was a kid, Brian, who is Brian, right? Like
Mhm.
the I would say most non-controversial
Yeah.
name ever. Guess what he wanted to change his name to when he was a kid?
Oh goodness, like Sparky or something
No.
crazy.
John.
Oh my gosh!
I was like,
What?
you're already a John. He's like, what
Yeah.
do you mean? I was like, it's like
It's the same.
It's
Same.
the same thing.
Same.
It's the same thing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I don't know. Are you one of those people, like, what comes for, like, the chicken or the egg? Like, does a kid kind of grow into their name,
Right.
or is it the opposite thing? You
Mhm.
know, like you name them something and their personality kind of goes separately
Mhm.
from the name.
I mean, I think in this mom's case, you know, she was like had like a specific image of her kid in
Yeah.
her head.
Well, that's your first mistake.
and chose a
Right.
specific name to match
Because
that.
God knows, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, your kid
so-
is who they are, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of my children's names were like, I'm going to name you this with the intent that you will do X, Y, Z
Right.
and be good at ABC
Right.
and, you know, whatever. If I wasn't Karen, I was going to be Jennifer.
My sister. I feel like there's a lot of that Jennifer in the 80s,
It was so
late
big.
70s.
It was so big.
So popular.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was going to be an Emily.
Another popular.
Also,
Mhm.
yeah, like
mean, I
might as
feel
well
like-
as be Katie.
I feel like there was a lot of the same names
Yeah.
running around. And now I feel like it's different. I feel like now you can do whatever you want.
Well, you know, River was a little bit of a stretch for Brian. He and he reminded me of this the other day. Like, of course, River wants to change her name. Remember when I wanted to name her like Amy or Lisa? And I was like,
I remember when he wanted to name her Lisa, and I was like, no, you can't name her Lisa. No offense to any Lisas out there.
yeah. So that's what I was working with. And then
Yeah.
he's the one who it took us a long time to name her in the hospital. And he's the one who made the call for River, by the
Mhm,
way.
mhm.
So, I mean.
Well, I thought you were going to say about River, which is how I feel about Bennett. I love the name Bennett. I love the name River. My concern is the gender neutral. Like, I just don't know if someday she's going to be like, everyone thinks I'm a boy.
on like job applications.
Right. Because a lot of times, like even the doctor's office will be like, you know, his appointment. And I'm like, it's a girl, Bennett. You
Yeah.
know? So that's the thing that I like the name, but you know, and I think River can be boy or girl too.
Yeah.
So
I think
yeah.
it's mostly a boy's name. It's only
Yeah.
in like the last couple of years that it's been a like gender
Well,
neutral name.
Our little girls can just keep rocking their fun names, and hopefully, I do wonder though if like in 10 years will it matter? Like, you know, I don't know. Maybe
Well, you know,
it
it's
won't be
funny.
an issue. Maybe they won't care.
Here in Asheville, we actually know several Rivers. I think
Yeah.
I've said this
Same.
also on the podcast.
Mhm.
Like we have a
Mhm.
couple a boy River, my River's age, and then an older girl
Mhm.
River. And I just feel like in Asheville, nobody blinks. But it's
Right.
funny if she moves to like Oklahoma, that
Mhm.
might be a totally
Mhm.
different story. It
Mhm.
might be, you know, a weirdo name. So Names are fun to talk about. No?
Yeah, it's funny. No, they are. It's funny. The other day I was playing dolls with, I think, Ella Ray, and she was like, "What are we gonna name this girl? What are we gonna name?" We had to name all the dolls, and it was so funny to me because I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't think of any girl names." And then I was just reminiscing on how here I am, I'm done having children, and so it's not top of mind. But like, there was a time in my life
Where you were like
when I was
collecting
pregnant
them.
where I could have rattled off like my favorite top 20 names, like, oh, let me get out like my notebook where like my note in my phone, all the girl names that I like.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got nothing. I can't think of a single girl name that I like at the moment because I'm like
You've
not
already
in that
used them.
phase anymore.
Yeah.
It was just funny because I stressed about it for each of the 4 pregnancies,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just funny to like be reminded
Like,
that
you
I
shut
don't
off
have to
that
name
part of
anything
your-
anymore.
yeah, you
Like
shut off that
I'm
part
no
of your
longer
brain.
naming things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my win, since you weren't really that impressed with my fish costume.
I was so impressed. I said you were a Pinterest mom now. Best mom ever. Wait till you see the party we're throwing after the podcast for you to celebrate
thank
your
you.
crafting.
So St. Patrick's Day was just on Monday here. And so we set a leprechaun trap at my house.
Did you catch him?
No. But we had a lot of there was also a lot of crafting and to do.
I saw it on your social. It was very
Whew.
involved.
Yeah.
I went the easy route.
Which was?
I don't know. Are kids listening?
Oh,
I don't want to ruin it. Continue.
Okay. Well, now I'm really going to ruin it because so also on Sunday morning, River lost a tooth, which meant that the tooth fairy also had to come Sunday
Oh my
night.
goodness.
So
That's
the
a lot of
leprechaun had to come
people in your
the
house.
tooth fairy on
Mhm.
Sunday night.
A lot of visitors.
I'm not trying to brag. This all happened while I was making the fish shirt on Sunday afternoon too. So it was like, this is why, again, I was like, I'm killing it.
Mom
This
of the
mom
year.
thing, I'm like, Brian was like, what's the plan? I was like, I got this. Just go to bed. I had to get up a couple minutes early on Monday to make it all happen, but nailed it. The leprechaun came, the tooth fairy came, and the fish shirt.
Well, so we don't do the leprechaun trap thing, but it kind of perplexes me because so what happens? You're just like, oh, we didn't catch him, darn? Or like, what is
he eats some of the chocolate. He leaves a note.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He disrupts the trap.
Okay. I see. Okay. This is making more sense now.
Yeah, he lets his presence known. River actually bought a green fly swatter and had this whole intention that if she caught him, she was going to swat him. I was like, are you okay?
Ours just pees green in the toilet.
Oh, just always worried that green's going to stick in the white porcelain of the toilet. It doesn't?
Doesn't. Flushes right away.
Leprechaun.
Now though, I have to say, which well done on nailing all
Thank
of the
Thank you.
What do we call them? All of the holiday creatures at once?
Yeah, all of the mythical magical creatures.
Well, now it's funny you should say that because then it sparked this conversation on St. Patrick's Day at our house of what if we were all holiday characters on Halloween this year?
This is a great idea.
Yeah. So now there's this big debate. So Bennett wants to be Santa.
Of course.
They said Gregory has to be the Easter Bunny.
Okay.
Henry wants to be a leprechaun. Ella Ray wants to be the Tooth Fairy.
Okay.
Sam's gonna be. Oh no, Sam. He can
be Sam could be Cupid.
Well, listen, we have too many people in our family for the holiday. We're having trouble coming up with 6. We were gonna have Sam as Cupid, but then we ran out. So now Sam's gonna be Uncle Sam.
Oh, for the 4th of July. I love this.
And then I have to be Cupid apparently. So
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, it was funny that we were then it started we're rattling off all of the characters. Yeah.
This is a great idea.
Yeah. Anyway.
And you already have your that's the one thing I didn't do on Sunday is come up with Halloween costume.
Well, we got a few months. We had a little bit of time.
Whew. Actually, I was like, hey, what do you think? You could be this rainbow fish for Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
And River kind of took the bait. No, we'll see. We have a long time until Halloween, but I was like, hey.
I kind of want to go see the play now.
You're always welcome. Come on.
Well done, Miss Perfect Mom.
Thanks.
Killing it over there.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone listening and watching from home is nailing it as well. So good on you, moms.
Good on ya. Good on ya. Bye, guys. Anchor Moms is a Sinclair podcast produced out of WLOS in Asheville. We're your hosts, Katie Killen and Karen Zakalak. Anchor Moms is edited by Matthew Yates.
For more information on the topics discussed in this episode and to stay up to date on future episodes, follow us on Instagram at AnchorMoms.
You can follow Anchor Moms on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Know a parent who could benefit from this week's Anchor Moms episode? Your recommendations help our show to grow, so spread the word.